Would you pay to see explicit photos of this woman? How about this woman? Perhaps this one strikes your fancy. Or this one. Or this one. Maybe you'd like her to act and dress like a dog while she does something else super degrading. I can go on and on with this intro because there's simply so many women to choose from. If you answered yes to any of these questions, I've got some bad news for you. You're most likely an incel, a simp, or a cuck. And the worst news is, you're actually not alone. Today I'm here to tell you how and why OnlyFans creates incels. But before I get into that, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down below telling me why you already hate this video. So, the name of the game is parasocial relationships. And the internet generally fosters these things. They really started with TV personalities, things like that. You know, the shallow cult of leading personalities we call celebrities is the origin point for this. And like with all technology, the internet has really only intensified this. The internet intensifies things, and of course it also redistributes access. So now, theoretically, your basic Becky, I guess, to use that term, it's a callback from like 2011, really dating myself and using that phrase, could become a popular and famous influencer with fans and attention beyond her wildest dreams. Of course, not everyone is able to utilize these tools successfully, use them to their advantage, because there is still a specific skill set that's required. And it's different from the ones that traditional celebrities, pre-internet celebrities, people with pre-internet fame, needed to acquire that fame. People are oversaturated with media, and they're also more cynical than ever. So there's an incredible emphasis on authenticity, rawness, getting to see inside a person's life, a complete dissolution of public and private life. So the women who are successful on OnlyFans now are the ones who are best able to make it appear as though they are open, real, authentic, raw, very good at creating that sense of intimacy in your mind. So it feels like you have a tangible relationship with this person, as a substitute for the fact that many men are not able to form relationships at all. So the internet lays the groundwork in making it even easier for you to believe that you know a complete stranger. And then OnlyFans is like throwing gasoline on a fire. It really complicates things because now you have all these intimate, explicit photos. You have this sort of tiered system where you subscribe and then you get access to certain pictures, and then you pay a little more and you get a little more, you get videos, and then you pay even more, you get custom videos or something, and then you pay even more, and then I don't know, she gives you some sort of one-on-one time, whatever the maximum conceivable reward would be. And this really further complicates parasocial relationships because now there's this reward system, and also sex and money are involved. And obviously, it goes without saying that this relationship is entirely transactional, and it's absolutely less stable than a real-world relationship with a woman that, an incel could just know, from his town or a neighboring town or nearby. And what incels' parents have not engendered in them is the knowledge that these women are actually not their friends and interaction with them is valueless. Like, some incels might be able to tell you that intellectually, but on an emotional level, they obviously don't understand this, and of course it's reflected in their behavior by continuing to patronize these e-girls. These incels probably haven't had that sit-down talk with their boomer dad and learned that these e-girls are just like cam girls or strippers or even waitresses at Hooters, in that they know you're going to give them more money the friendlier and more inviting and enticing they appear, even when the relationship is entirely illusory. There's really no reciprocity involved. You're just another dollar sign. And on a side note, this actually makes me wonder if there would be proportionately more lesbians or self reported LGBTQ women using OnlyFans as a service. Because with strippers, for instance, a lot of them are lesbians or really self identified lesbians because they're constantly dealing with the seedier and worse elements of the male population. So they become bitter and angry with men. And, they lose respect for them. And women don't respect incels or simps either, so maybe this could have a similar effect. Anyway, this fame, this synthetic special attention from an OnlyFans model satiates the incel's need for a real, full fledged relationship with a woman. And what really bothers me the most is so many of these incels just get complacent. You tell them, oh, you could do this, 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 and this to improve your lives, to get that relationship you actually want. And they just refuse to do it because they are not happy, but they're comfortable where they are. These unnatural parasocial relationships with women keep men pacified, sedate, and inert. Another serious problem with OnlyFans and why it creates incels is that it actually raises some men's standards and expectations to unrealistically high levels. Now I know what you're thinking. A lot of men are desperate and they would go for any girl they thought they even had a remote chance with. But it is true that there are some incels who have absurdly high standards. I know this one kid who's still a virgin, almost certainly a connoisseur of OnlyFans. And he's like a 3, and he's expecting 11 out of 10s. And I'm like, bro, you need to put yourself out there. You need to shave. You need to get rid of your acne. You need to stop being so disagreeable and neurotic. And they have ridiculous expectations for romance and love and all that. He's like, oh, I don't want to be with a girl unless I actually love her. There's this girl I've been talking to, and you know what? I think I'm going to confess. And I'm like, confess? Confess what? What does that mean? You got a manifesto you're going to talk to her about? I'm going to confess that I like her. Don't put it that way, man. What do you mean confess? That sounds so weird. Right? This relationship is fundamentally unequal. And because of that, it causes men to place women onto an unhealthy pedestal. So he has this whole courtship ritual constructed in his head with the perfect ideal woman, which obviously never comes to fruition because it's not real. It's not realistic. And that is precisely what keeps him stuck in second gear. And to emphasize the delusion that men have placed themselves in because of apps like these, because of the internet really, is that he could get girls. He could get girls. He's almost 6 feet tall. If he cleaned up, he's a disciplined guy. If he cleaned up a bit, he could get girls, but he doesn't because the problem is entirely psychological and entirely because he's spending his energy in the wrong ways. One of which is on this service OnlyFans, which is a dead end, which keeps him satisfied enough that he doesn't actually have to change. So as of August 2021, there are 2 million content creators and 130 million users of OnlyFans. And this app the women on this app prey on socially inept men, which they are able to cultivate these cheap, hollow feelings of intimacy in. This is reinforced by the blurring of public and private life, and these men gain a sense of trust due to the self-disclosure and intimate photos, the custom content, etc. And because these relationships are all skewed as well, the e-girl has most, if not all, of the power. Relationship, in quotes. So she's free to remold how the incel actually perceives women and relationships. And this is atrocious because call me a conservative, call me a reactionary, call me a Bible believer, but women should not be able to influence men like this, or really at all. And I know there are like fitness influencers and I think a chefs or something, and a couple other people who also use OnlyFans as well for some reason. But this service, this app, this site has pushed society unidirectionally downward into the mud. And by the way, there's no such thing as sex work. That's just some term leftists invented, right? It's just prostitution. And you are engaging in digital prostitution if and when you use OnlyFans. From the book of Ephesians, wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is head of the wife, as also Christ is head of the church, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, just as the church is subject to Christ, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, just as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for her. Where in that verse did you hear, oh yeah, just have a subscription-based service relationship with a woman over the internet, and you send her a bunch of money, and maybe she sends you a video of her doing something nasty, and you jerk off to it? That's not in the book. That's not in the book, and it's not in the book because it's not right. And from Genesis 2:24, therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and they shall become one flesh. Are you one flesh with this e-girl? You're not even one flesh with her. It's like worse than hooking up with a random girl. You're not even one flesh with some random stranger you met off Tinder, right? You are somebody's pay pig. And you're getting nothing but immateriality in return. A video, a picture, here and there. She says your name. Maybe, in the most extreme cases, I remember there was this guy who actually went out on a date with a streamer after he paid her like thousands of dollars or something. Ridiculous. Didn't even get to touch boob. Didn't even get that far. Didn't even get to second base, you know? A woman will not, in fact, cannot respect a man that doesn't stick to his guns. That doesn't have cojones, as they say. And OnlyFans is yet another form of gelding. It's yet another form of castration. The incel lowers himself and his worth to the position of an animal when he patronizes these unscrupulous women. And what is so important to realize about this parasocial relationship, why it is so important to see that it's dangerous, is because what people won't tell you is that it's up to men to restore order to this society, right? MGTOW won't tell you this. The men's rights activist movement won't tell you this, but it's up to men to fix things. Men lead and women follow, and this is simply the order of things. And I know if some feminist comes across this video, they'll say, oh, but what about matriarchal societies? And I'll have you know, even the scholars, the academics that analyze and expound the virtues of such primitive societies are forced to admit that there is no single society, and there has been no single society in history that was clearly matriarchal, because it's an unnatural order. And maybe you're listening to this and you're one of those Redditors that has a girlfriend. You're a soy drinker that somehow has a girlfriend. And you're saying, oh, I consume OnlyFans, and I still get laid, and I see no problem with it. It's between two consenting adults. First of all, you're a terrible person. And second of all, what you're doing in subsidizing this behavior is you are throwing acid on the fabric of society. Every time a woman shares photos like this publicly, first of all, it should be self-evident that this is immodest behavior, that this is inappropriate and immodest behavior. And secondly, it should be obvious that you're lowering her value as a woman. And your contributions make it so that this enterprise, this behavior is profitable for her, and she's able to ensnare more incels, right? So you're not only lowering her value as a person, but you're also getting more men into this trap as well. You are contributing to the degradation of societal standards. And that's disgusting. Anyway, you heard it from me. That is how OnlyFans creates incels, and why this is actually a very serious problem which will lead to the destabilization of society. That's it for this video, and Counter Evolution will see you in the next one.